For this part, we will talk about the creation and evolvement of Chinese characters. And when kids in China begin to read Chinese writing characters, we always tell a story first. A legend story is about who created Chinese characters thousands of years ago. The story is about a man named Cang Jie, and here is a video about this story.
Hello friends, welcome to the wonderful world of Chinese characters. I am Enchius. Today I'm going to tell you the legend of how Chinese characters were created. According to legend, they were invented by a man named Cang Jie, who had 4 eyes and 4 pupils. It is also said that when he invented these characters, the deities and ghosts cried and the sky rained millet. This was around 2700 BC, and the emperor at the time, Huangdi, the Yellow Emperor, had become fed up with the only method of recording information available, not tying. So he enlisted his historian Cang Jie to develop a writing system. Cang Jie sat down at a riverbank and devoted himself to the task. But after much time and effort, Cang Jie was unable to come up with a single character. Then, one day, Cang Jie saw a phoenix flying overhead, which had an object in his beak. The object then fell and landed in front of Cang Jie, and he discovered the object to be an impression of a footprint. Sure, why not? But Cang Jie could not recognize what animal the footprint was from, so he asked a hunter passing by on the road. The hunter said that without a doubt, this was the footprint of an animal called a pixiu, which has a print like no other creature. A pixiu is a Chinese mythical hybrid creature, a sort of winged lion, which eats silver and gold, so it's considered an auspicious animal since it can attract fortune. Anyway, this conversation with the hunter greatly inspired Cang Jie. He realized that since the footprint of the pixiu is unlike that of any other beast, everything on Earth must have a unique characteristic that sets it apart from everything else. If he could capture the distinguishing characteristics in the form of a pictograph of everything in the world, he would have the foundation for a writing system. From that day forward, Cang Jie paid great attention to everything around him, including the sun, moon, stars, clouds, ocean, as well as all manner of bird and beast. He created characters according to what made these things unique, and before long he had compiled a long list of characters to present to the emperor, who of course was very pleased, and the premiers of all the provinces dedicated temples to Cang Jie. Well, that's all for today. See you next time, friends.
Now, let's talk about the real story about Chinese character. When we compare a Chinese character and English word, it is easy to find out that the difference is that if you understand both of the words, you can read the English one, but you can't read Chinese. It is because Chinese character is so-called logogram. The logogram means that it presents the concept of the word rather than the sound, like English. So English is the language in the photogram. So the photograms represent the sound. So thousands of years ago, ancient Chinese people liked to draw what they saw and use those drawings to express information and communication. So let's watch a short video first.
The marks carved on rocks 8,000 years ago are regarded as the first example of Chinese characters, Hanzi. Ancient Chinese recorded what they saw in the world by drawing. Legends say that Chinese characters are pictures which can be read. Westerners often say that Hanzi are pictographs. This is because the first Hanzi were pictographs which conveyed meaning through physical resemblance to physical objects. Meanwhile, some Hanzi are composed of symbols which represent sound. Looking back at history, we can understand the life of people in ancient China with Hanzi.
So, we can find out that the ancient Chinese people used drawing first, and then those drawings evolved over time. and finally, they became a systematic way of expression. The Chinese character has evolved over thousands of years to include many different styles of script. It is now believed that the earliest Chinese characters appeared during the Shang dynasty, and that time words were written in the oracle bombs, so it is called the oracle bomb script. This script was etched onto turtle shells or animal bones, which were then heated until cracks would appear. Since the oracle bones, Chinese character had evolved many times. There are seven main forms in the history beside the oracle bones. They are Greater Seal, Letter Seal, Clarkly script, Standard script, Running script, Cursive script, and the modern simplified. So when it evolved to the standard script, this kind of form character have been used since then to the present. And for the running and the cursive script, they are more like a way to write standard script, so they still looks similar to the standard script. And for the last one, the simplified Chinese character, it appears less than 100 years. In 1949, the new China had founded, and the government decided to simplify the traditional Chinese characters because at that time, after decades of wars, the priority job is to decrease the rate of illiteracy. And since the traditional Chinese character are really hard to write and memorize, so the government decided to simplify them. Therefore, in nowadays, the mainland China use the simplified Chinese character, and people in Hong Kong and Taiwan use the traditional Chinese characters. Now, let's talk about the numbers. So people always ask how many Chinese characters are they? Well, different sources give different numbers. According to the latest Chinese dictionary, there are more than 60,000 characters. But the good news is that you don't have to know all of them. The most common used Chinese characters are roughly 4,000 words. So if you can read and write these 4,000 words, you can be considered literate. So we've been talking about the Chinese character from the beginning to the current, and the Chinese character attract you to learn, or maybe you might think it is difficult to learn a language that is present a concept rather than a sound. Well, I can promise you that you can or you may be to learn some Chinese words in 10 minutes. So I think the next video will show you how.
Growing up in Taiwan as a daughter of calligrapher, one of my most treasured memories was my mother showing me the beauty, the shape, and the form of Chinese characters. Ever since then, I was fascinated by this incredible language. But to an outsider, it seems to be as impenetrable as the Great Wall of China. Over the past few years, I've been wondering if I can break down this wall so anyone who wants to understand and appreciate the beauty of this sophisticated language to do so. I started thinking about how a new, fast method of learning Chinese might be useful. Since the age of 5, I started to learn how to draw every single stroke for each character at correct sequence. I learn new characters every day during the course of the next 15 years. Since we only have 5 minutes, it's better that we have a fast and simpler way. A Chinese scholar would understand 20,000 characters. You only need 1,000 to understand the basic literacy. The top 200 will allow you to comprehend 40% of basic literature, enough to read road sign, restaurant menu, to understand the basic idea of the web pages or the newspapers. Today I'm going to start with 8 to show you how the method works. You ready? Open your mouth as wide as possible until it's square. You get a mouse. This is a person going for a walk. Person. If the shape of the fire is a person with two arms on both sides, as if she was yelling frantically, "Help, I'm on fire." The symbol actually is originally from the shape of the flame, but I like to think that way, whichever works for you. This is a tree. This is a mountain. The sun. The moon. The symbol of the door looks like a pair of saloon doors in the Wild West. I call these 8 characters radicals. They are the building blocks for you to create lots more characters. A person, if someone walks behind, then is to follow. As old saying goes, 2 is company, 3 is a crowd. If a person stretches the arms wide, this person is saying, it was this big. The person inside the mouth, the person is trapped. He's a prisoner, just like Jonah inside the whale. 1 tree is a tree, 2 trees together, we have the woods. 3 trees together, we create the forest. Put a plank underneath the tree, we have the foundation. Put a mouse on the top of the tree, that's idiot. Easy to remember. Since a talking tree, it's pretty idiotic. Remember fire? 2 fires together, I get really hot. 3 fires together, that's a lot of flames. Set the fire underneath the 2 trees, it's burning. For us, the sun is the source of prosperity. 2 suns together, prosperous. 3 together, that's about sparkles. Put the sun and the moon shining together, it's brightness. It also means tomorrow, after a day and a night. The sun is coming up above the horizon, sunrise. A door, put a plank inside the door, we have this door bolt. Put a mouse inside the door, asking questions. Knock, knock, is anyone home? This person is sneaking out of the door, escaping, evading. On the left, we have a woman. 2 women together, they have an argument. 3 women together, be careful, it's adultery. So we have gone through almost 30 characters. By using this method, the first 8 radicals will allow you to build 32. The next group of 8 characters will build an extra 32. So within very little effort, you will be able to learn a couple hundred characters, which is the same as a Chinese 8-year-old. So after we know the characters, we start building phrases. For example, the mountain and the fire together, we have fire mountain. It's a volcano. We know Japan is land of rising sun. This is the sun putting with the origin because Japan lies in the east of China. So, a sun, origin together, we built Japan. A person behind Japan, what have we got? Japanese person. The character on the left is 2 mountains stacked on the top of each other. In ancient China, that means in exile, because Chinese emperor, they put their political enemies in exile beyond mountains. Nowadays, exile has turned into getting out. A mouth which tells you where to get out is an exit. This is a slide to remind me that I should stop talking and get out of the stage. Thank you.